blast someone off a cliff or create a vacuum to suffocate them. But those techniques are absolutely forbidden and never taught. Airbending is designed purely for evasion, defense, and mobility, not for killing or even seriously injuring. The circular movements and redirecting philosophy means you're always avoiding direct confrontation, always finding ways around obstacles rather than through them. You see, Air Nomads are strict pacifists. Taking a life is the gravest sin imaginable, absolutely forbidden under any circumstances, even in self-defense. Even if someone is actively trying to kill you, you're taught to evade, flee, or disable rather than kill. The philosophy is that all life is sacred, that violence only creates more violence, and that there's always a peaceful solution if you're wise and patient enough to find it. Killing someone, even in war, even in self-defense, would spiritually corrupt you and sever your connection to airbending itself. But there's a massive problem with absolute pacifism that nobody likes to talk about. What happens when someone doesn't want peace? What happens when someone decides that your entire peaceful culture is a threat that needs to be eliminated? Well, let's see what the Fire Nation are up to right now. Tensions are high here. Fire Lord Sozin has been continuing the Fire Nation's industrial growth, shipbuilding, and military modernization under the guise of national improvement. He's pretty clearly preparing for something though. But that's okay. Let's check in with how Avatar Roku is doing. Oh, good news. That means there's going to be a new avatar, and he's going to be an airbender like you. But the bad news is that there's currently no avatar to keep the peace. But anyways, let's talk about Sky Bison, because they're central to Air Nomad culture and also a massive vulnerability. Sky Bison are enormous flying creatures, 10 tons of muscle and fur with 6 legs and the ability to airbend naturally through their massive flat tails. They were the original airbenders, and humans learned airbending thousands of years ago by observing Sky Bison. Every young Air Nomad is bonded with a Sky Bison calf, forming a lifelong spiritual partnership. When you're 7 years old, you're taken to the stables and introduced to the young bison who will be your companion for life. He's massive, even as a baby, with thick white fur, gentle brown eyes, and 6 legs that seem too big for his body. You give him a name, and from that moment, you're responsible for his care. You feed him, groom him, play with him, and eventually learn to fly with him. But wait, isn't this a worldly attachment? Who cares? Sky Bison fly through airbending. Their huge flat tails create powerful air currents that keep them aloft. But here's the thing, Sky Bison are completely dependent on Air Nomads. They've been domesticated for thousands of years and don't really exist in the wild anymore. They're also the Air Nomads' only real transportation. Without Sky Bison, Air Nomads can't travel between temples, can't visit other nations, and can't flee if something goes wrong. Your culture's mobility depends on these giant flying creatures. If something happened to the Sky Bison population, Air Nomads would be completely stranded. As you grow older, you start noticing other limitations of Air Nomad life. The southern air temple is beautiful, but incredibly isolated. You're in a mountain range surrounded by clouds. The nearest Earth Kingdom settlement is literally days away by Sky Bison. You can't just walk anywhere. You're on mountain peaks accessible only by flying, and everything you need has to be grown in the temple's terraced gardens or made by hand. Air Nomads are also strictly vegetarian. Eating meat is absolutely forbidden because it involves taking animal life, which violates your pacifist principles. Your entire diet consists of vegetables, fruits, grains, nuts, and dairy from the temple's goat-sheep hybrids. The food is fine, nutritious even, but you'll never taste meat. If you're curious about Fire Nation's spicy noodles or Water Tribe's sea prunes, too bad. That's not happening. The gender separation also becomes more apparent as you age. You've grown up exclusively around men and boys. Every authority figure you've known has been male. Obviously, you know that women exist. Your mother is one. Half the Air Nomads are female, but you barely know any personally. The temples do occasional joint gatherings for festivals, but these are rare. Most of your life is spent in exclusively male company, which creates a really weird social dynamic when you do interact with female Air Nomads during festivals. Nobody really knows how to act around the opposite gender because you've had almost zero practice. Air Nomad philosophy explains this as necessary for spiritual development. Masculine and feminine energies need separate spaces to properly mature. In practice, it means half your culture is basically strangers to you. The nuns at the northern and western temples are having completely different experiences, and you'll barely understand each other's lives. There's also a weird way Air Nomads handle relationships and families. Air Nomads don't have traditional marriages or family structures. When monks and nuns meet during rare joint festivals and form romantic connections, they might have children together, but they don't live together as families afterwards. The children are born at whichever temple the mother is currently at, raised communally, and the parents return to their separate temples. This system prevents attachment and maintains the gender-separated temple structure. But not you, Sky Bison. We're allowed to be attached to you. You're taught that this promotes spiritual growth and prevents the possessiveness and family drama that plagues other nations. Maybe that's true. Air nomads don't have inheritance disputes or family feuds, but it also means you'll never have a conventional family unit. You won't have a partner to live with, won't raise your own children in a household, won't have a family home. These concepts don't exist in air nomad culture.